of Discovery are back for one final season, and with 2 episodes dropping in the first week, which hasn't happened since the very first 2 all the way back in season 1. If you remember that, or if you try to forget it, don't worry about it, it's all fine. Michael and the crew will have to side quest their way through a trauma one last time, and this episode sets up the season side quest, The Secret Mission, tying into a story from TNG that changed everything characters knew about their existence in this universe, and then that was never touched on again. Sort of like that Voyager episode about the space dinosaurs, but, you know, don't worry about that. I'm, of course, talking about Star Trek Discovery episodes 1 and 2 of season 5. As always, I'm Al, this is the Geek in Review. Thanks for taking the time to choose to watch this channel, I really appreciate it, and if you haven't done it already, leave a like on the video and subscribe. So, the episode opens with Michael from a shot from the trailer riding a ship. Remember, she's a captain like Picard, you know, the one that always stayed on the bridge. Can you even imagine Picard doing this?
You are indeed a dipshit from Chicago.
Anyway, we do get a flashback to 4 hours earlier and the crew are celebrating the anniversary of the Federation. But it's not all good news as Stamets' Spore Drive project is getting shelved and Starfleet is going with another form of transportation called the Pathway Drive, which they're probably going to forget later on in the season and not explain.
Walk around, shake hands and pretend I'm happy that the Pathway Drive went up?
So Stamets is now up the creek without a Spore Drive, or you know, with only one Spore Drive because it is the only one. Yeah. Tilly's also back and Saru's now about to be an ambassador to help the Federation, but that means leaving Starfleet. The night gets interrupted for Michael when Admiral Van shows up with a mission, and it turns out an 800-year-old Romulan science vessel that's vital to the security of the Federation has been found, and it's a red directive. So you know what a red directive is, right? I'm not going to explain that, I don't need to tell you.
Captain, this is a red directive.
So it's a new mission to find a thing, to solve a thing, but we don't know what either is, and Kovic is along for the ride. And as I said, it's a Romulan ship, which, of course, the bad guys are after because there has to be bad guys in this show. And when they do find the ship and they get on board, you know, it looks pretty good, almost like a 31st century starship, if you know what I'm saying, on the inside. And also, did anyone else think Maul was the same actress that played Nurse Chapel? Because my god, do they look alike. So Maul and Locke are the bad guys so far for this season, and like Discovery, they don't know what they're after either. But what they do know is a red directive, which is probably more than you idiot.
This is a red directive.
They send an away team to find the Scavengers hidden in the vault, and they get the drop on the away team and take out everyone apart from Michael. And they've taken what looks like a puzzle box, which of course is going to be the clue to get to the next thing to solve the problem, to do the thing they need to do, because why not? So they escape and Michael manages to latch onto their ship as they go to warp, and that's where the episode opens. Which, you know, should turn her into a smoothie in her suit, but it's Discovery, so let's ignore the rules, don't worry about it. Discovery tracks them and follows them, and another Starfleet ship, the Antares, commanded by Captain Rayner, shows up. And the second I seen this, I thought, we're not going to see the bridge of that ship. We're never going to see the bridge of that ship. And I'm going to follow that up, so stay with me on this. The bad guys manage to escape, and Michael gets back on board the Discovery in style, and I'm not taking the piss here, that was a generally quite good cut the way they done that.
Good one. Yep, that was a good one.
So Discovery lost the bad guy's ship and lost whatever they've stolen, and Mike does the only natural thing that she does. She brings her ex-boyfriend who was in prison back on board. Because Disco just could jump to all the different locations to check them out where Maul and Locke sent the sort of distracting warp signals. You know, the Spore Drive that can take you instantaneously anywhere at any time, but I guess they kind of forgot that. And Captain Rayner knows these Scavengers, Maul and Locke, and has a history with them, so I guess he's going to be along for the journey this season as well. So, because they're Scavengers like Book, he thinks like they think and knows all their ways and whatever, I guess the 2 starships of the Antares and the Discovery team up. But I mean, we're not going to see that other starship's bridge. Come on, I mean, we're not. Back at HQ, Tilly is still having banter and maybe flirting. It's so badly written, it's hard to tell. Because no one talks like that. But anyway, Michael and Discovery need her help, so she's recruited to work out exactly what's going on. They follow Book's lead and head to a backwater planet, and it's androids. We're doing androids. Do you remember Data? He's an android. We're back with androids. And they're trying to sell this guy these trinkets that they've found, including an 800-year-old tricorder. I mean, who would want something like that that's 800 years old? I could not even give you an iPhone 5 right now. You wouldn't take it, and that's 10 years old, not 800. The android solves the Romulan puzzle box because, of course, he does. And drum roll. It's a book with a symbol. So I guess they're going to have to work out what that means in order to find the next clue to do the next thing for whatever, I don't know. Anyway, a fight breaks out between Maul, Locke and this android's team, and they manage to get the better of them, and instantaneously I thought, well, someone's going to take that android's head. I mean, they've done it quite a bit in TNG, they're not going to do it here. And all this is going on. Rayner, Michael and Book arrive on the planet and they decide to split up, which means Rayner goes off on his own and leaves Michael and Book on their own, which, you know, could have covered more ground if he'd done it the other way, just saying. And back on the ship, they do beam Fred the android up, and they're definitely taking his head off, right? I mean, there's no way that they're not taking his head off. Locate the Scavengers, and they do pod racing, and they need to cut the bad guys off and decide to have a really long chat about it. The Scavengers blow up a mountain to escape, placing the colony at risk. So what do you do to stop something like that? You drop both of your huge massive starships on the landslide, or I should say in its path, in order to stop it, because of course you do. And yeah, terrible writing all the way through here, but all I'm going to say is at least it looked good if it didn't make sense. But back at HQ, Tilly's trying to work out what was on the Romulan ship, because again, it's a red directive. How do you not know what a red directive is, you moron?
Captain, this is a red directive.
Back on Discovery, they've downloaded the android's memory and managed to see what was in the book, and they've got a new destination to go and find whatever it is they need for whatever reason they have to destroy or use, whatever, I don't know.
No, I was recently diagnosed with stage 4. I don't give a shit.
Kovic wants to send a team to this location, so Michael does what any Starfleet captain would do and blackmails him, knowing that she has the knowledge and he doesn't, to get what she wants. And again, can you imagine Picard doing that? We find out that the Romulan scientist was present during the TNG episode The Chase. If you don't remember that, it's one where we all found out that all the humanoids in the Star Trek world are related through this one race, this sort of ancient progenitors, and that's what they call them in this show. So they seeded most, not all, of the planets where we see races in the Federation, the Klingons, Romulans, whatever. That's why they all look alike. It was a huge reveal at the time, very great writing, sad that it was never followed up, and I'm even sadder that it's getting followed up here. So yeah, after 30 years, they're addressing this big Star Trek mystery. The people that made everyone and everything that we probably know and have seen in this universe, and 800 years ago, one Romulan scientist managed to work out this ancient tech to do. Well, at this point, we don't know whatever it is, but it's probably good or bad or something else. Now, as you might be able to tell, I'm not a massive fan of Star Trek Discovery. I'm only covering it because it's the last season and I covered the last 2 seasons as well. I am going to be covering the rest of the episodes and I'm not going to be going too hard on it. But if this is your favourite show, this probably isn't going to be the YouTube channel or the review for you. While the show looks great, it's still falling into all the pit traps of side quests, trauma trek, and just general terrible dialogue. I mean, no one talks like this in reality, let alone in the military or a semi-military organisation. But that's just episode 1. Of course, episode 2 dropped at the same time, so let's get into that. So the crew need to find a thing to do a thing or something or other, I don't know, it's all to play for apparently, and they need to find the tech to make or destroy life. I don't know, again, it's hard what's going on here. And this episode is side questing at its worst because they have to find Maul and Locke and they don't know where they are or where they're going. And this is Saru's last mission as well with Discovery, but the incident with the mountain in episode 1 has created some scandal and the Federation are looking for someone to blame. And You don't know what a red directive is?
This is a red directive.
Michael and Rayner continue to butt heads, and we still don't see the Antares Bridge, and by the end of this episode, it's presumed that we never will. Book and Tilly go along for the ride because, of course, they have to on this mission, and they jump to a planet which is deserted and a literal graveyard of the Primelian species, which again is a callback to TNG going all the way back to, I think it's season 3, that episode, The Booby Trap, which is a classic, by the way. Go and check it out, but it's not linked to this. It doesn't matter. Like and subscribe. So they have to go to the planet to find the clue to do the thing, so Michael and Saru beam down, getting attacked by an ancient defence system. Rayner shows up, and yeah, you don't know what a red directive is?
This is a red directive.
Tilly, Adira and Rayner help defeat the drones, and they really drag this scene out like a lot. Like, the drone battle goes on for so long. On the ship, Book helps Colbert locate Maul and Locke, who they don't know what... Back on the ship, Colbert helps Book locate Maul and Locke, and remember, they don't know what Locke is. He had this sort of weird glow to him when he took his helmet off in episode 1, and I'm willing to bet that he's tied into the progenitor's ancient species. I mean, it's kind of got to be that, right? Anyway, Book manages to hail them, and they know what they have, a clue to the next thing. But Book realises later on that he has ties to Maul, as she's the child of the previous Booker. Remember, it's a whole Dread Pirate Roberts thing. This guy's like the 5th Booker or whatever, I don't know. So it's like his family, because that's the way this show... I've lost interest. Let's get back to it.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Because this doesn't really go anywhere at the moment. It's Michael and Saru who get the next clue, who manage to work out to do the next thing, which means that they've got to go to Trill. And they're definitely bringing back Grey in episode 3, right? I mean, they can't help themselves. Anyway, they make it back to Federation space. Saru leaves the ship and the crew, and Rayner takes the rap for what happened with the mountain, so he's getting steamrolled out of Starfleet. They butt heads again, but will need to learn to work together against their differences to solve the galactic mystery, as instead of forcing Rayner in retirement, Michael decides to take him as our new number 1. And that's where the episode ends. And this season has introduced an arc I thought Star Trek would never pick up, with the progenitors and the origins of the species in the universe. And in the hands of good writers, this could be interesting, but it's not, and I'll explain why in another video, so like and subscribe. But what did you guys think of Star Trek Season 5, Episode 1 and 2, the 2-parter opening? Did you enjoy it? Are you happy that this old TNG story from the chase is being followed up? Or are you sick of side quests and bad dialogue? You know, that's an option there if you want it as well. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I really want to hear your thoughts on this episode and the final season. By the time I've made this video, the news of the Lower Deck cancellation has already happened, and I'm going to do another video covering that. So make sure that you don't miss out, and as always, my name's Al. Thanks for watching.